Hi there, today I'm going to show you how you can use Sentinel to visualize, supervise, and evaluate any agent running on any task. So previously, when we were running lots of agents in parallel, it might look something like this. You have, for example, a customer support agent dealing with lots of cases. Very difficult to understand what the agent is doing, to interject, to modify the trajectory, and to catch failures. With Sentinel, in just a few lines of code, you can hook into your agent and supervise every single tool call in a scalable manner. So these agents have been configured in a few lines of code to use Sentinel. And so all of their requests are being streamed directly to the platform. So if I go through to the platform, I can see these tasks starting to show up. If I click view, I can see the runs for this specific task. Just one run here that I can click through on. And I'll start to see all of the tool calls that the agent is making, and I can see their status. So as you can see, the agent is progressing through this customer support case, and each action is being supervised by configured supervisors. If I inspect one of these requests, you can see that, for example, the respond to user tool has been supervised by a language model called the correct information presented to user supervisor, which is just a language model as a judge, which is verifying that a specific failure mode has not been hit. In this case, it approved, but if it had escalated, that would have gone through to a human supervisor. The great thing about the supervisors in Sentinel is that they're completely configurable. So you can define your own supervisors, or you can use the supervisors that we provide. There are three main categories. You can use deterministic code-based supervisors, you can use language models as a judge, and you can use humans as well. So if I go through to a task, another task, you might see a case where the agent has had to escalate to a human. So for example, in this case, we wanted to modify a pending order, and the supervisor chain configured for this tool first checks whether the action adheres to a policy. And in this case, we see that the LLM as a judge determined that the modification was not in line with the policy because it didn't obtain explicit consent from the user. So it escalated to the next supervisor that was configured in the chain, in this case, a human supervisor. If I go through to the human supervisor, I can start to see requests that have been made for approval to a human. And so this user interface can be used to monitor agents and see what approvals are required. So in this case, for example, I can see that while trying to exchange delivered order items, we passed these arguments into the function, and I can sort of inspect the conversation history, figure out why this was escalated to the human, verify whether this is correct. If I want to, I can make modifications to the arguments, and I can then go ahead and approve. In another case, maybe I want to reject and I want to provide human feedback to the agent itself. I can submit that rejection. But just generally, we have an efficient way of interacting with lots of agents at once via this approval interface. I can inspect different tool calls and verify that I do in fact want these tool calls to be executed on the world. Particularly useful in high-risk use cases. Let's say the agent is interacting directly with your customers or making critical decisions. There might be cases where you really want to have a human in the loop during that execution cycle. If I go back to my agent execution, you'll see that the approval has now been made for that supervisor. We've then escalated because we found another failure mode. So I can go through to the human supervisor again, and I can make sure that I approve all of these requests, head back to the agent, and you'll see that it starts to progress onwards towards its task. So that's how you can use Sentinel to evaluate agents at runtime and make sure that they are acting in a way that you're happy with.